And welcome back to the End of the Fourth Football Podcast. It is me, your host, B-Hizzy, aka Brendan Hurst, and as always, I am joined by The Prez, Chris Mullaney. How are you doing, man?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. Well, here we are again for the week 8. Well, another review show. It's week 8 this time, and we're here to talk about Thursday night football, where the Ravens ran out as 27-22 winners against Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What were your thoughts on this game?
The first half, I thought Tampa were going to run away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was about 3 or 4, maybe 5 times where Lamar could just have took off and ran.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just run with the thing. See,
yeah.
What's the worst that happens? Right, he's not the type of quarterback that drops back before running.
Mm-hmm.
He snaps and runs straight.
And
so
he goes,
the worst that happens is he gains a yard.
Mm-hmm.
I know you could fumble, but the likelihood's very slim.
I wonder if he's maybe just protecting himself a little bit more this year. Because he just, like, the decline in play seems to have coincided with the fact that he isn't running as much as he did in maybe the first. I mean, he is, I think he is the league's Russian leader or something. Or he's in the top 5 at least, I think. But I get what you're saying.
It's him. So in terms of rushing yards, it's him, my friend, and then Najee Harris.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Harris, wow, that's a surprise.
I know, but then again, I mean, but that's Pittsburgh. That's for Monday.
Yeah. Aye. Aye.
I just think that with Lamar, his strength when he's got nobody to throw to is he uses his legs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And obviously then when Mark Andrews went out,
mm-hmm.
with how long that's going to be, because I mean, a shoulder injury is one of those things. I mean, you can pop it back in 2 minutes, or you could be out for 2 months.
It's a tough one.
But I thought that the tight end likely he impressed me.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time I've actually, because obviously we see him on Red Zone. Well, I see him on Red Zone. I don't really follow Baltimore, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
But so I only see wee clips. That was the first time I actually seen him for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And he actually looked quite good.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay. I mean,
I think they could be buggered.
I mean, but the problem is it's the same problem you guys have in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
You can't exactly drop Brady and play the backup. I think it's Kyle Trask.
Yeah.
You may as well just surrender the season at that point.
Aye. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that they when they obviously did get out to a bit of a lead, they just looked like they completely lost all of their energy that they had. And it resulted in the offense punting 6 straight times. The defense allowed 3 touchdown drives without, 2 Ravens team that didn't have, obviously, it's 2 top pass catchers, J.K. Dobbins. Mark Andrews obviously left the game, and Rashad Bateman left as well. They just kept beating themselves as well. It was bad blocking, bad tackling, too many mental errors. And it's all just made a big cake, which means that Tom Brady is now 2 games under 500 for the first time in his career, which I don't know if anybody expected that going into this year. I think because the team is really talented. Like, what pieces really are there that weren't there for, 2020 and 2021? Okay, Antonio Brown from last year, well, 2 years ago as well. Rob Gronkowski, who the odd bits and pieces in there. But so maybe Bruce Arians meant more to this squad than we all thought. Because Todd Bowles isn't a bad coach.
No, but he's not a coach. He's a defensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we say all the time, young quarterbacks need offensive coaches. Well, Tom Brady's not young.
Yeah.
But still needs an offensive coach.
The thing is, I don't know who you could bring in, like in terms of an offensive coach for the Buccaneers that would know anything that could teach Tom Brady that he doesn't already know. The guy's been playing for, we've seen him obviously grown up in front of our eyes for the past 23 years. And then obviously more than that, nearly 30 years if you were, a Michigan fan. So
I know, but what I'm trying to say is you've got a defensive coordinator. So technically Byron Leftwich is the offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Byron Leftwich is a quarterback's coach.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So He's not dealing with wide receivers. He's not dealing with running backs. He's not dealing with a tight end. Is the problem for Brady the fact that his offensive line is basically a revolving door?
Yes, there is that. Yep.
He's now the all-time leader in being sacked.
I think that's just a testament to how long he's played.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if he'd been playing for 3 seasons, he'd be nowhere near it,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I do think that with Tampa Bay, the thing that saves them is the fact that their division's a wee bit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We don't know what we're getting with obviously the Panthers. Well, I think we do know. The Saints are the same. They could be having a fire sale potentially. And the Falcons, I don't think they could keep it up.
No, exactly. I mean, I think that's what will save Tampa.
Mm-hmm. This could be like the NFC East a couple of years ago, where a team wins and they've got a losing record, or maybe something really weak like 9-8.
Well, you see that's the thing. But people said that year that happened in the NFC East. Oh well, they should have to go on the road. Well, no. Mm-hmm. When you enter a competition, you know the rules.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, right? I could go, 6-11, and win my division.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And get a home game.
Yeah.
But I think Tampa will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore had to win that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if Baltimore didn't win that, I fancy Cincinnati on Monday.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, Cincinnati have to win now.
Yeah, I think so. I think
that division is going to come down to the games against each other.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. So the is it when does it the Bengals play the Ravens again?
I would have to look at that.
I'll be towards the end of the season. So
yeah.
I mean, let's talk about the Ravens. I think that they kind of lost a little bit of their identity, but it worked. They deviated away from running the ball for quite a long time. Initially they started with a 32-7 pass run ratio. I mean, if you include the 2 times that Lamar Jackson got sacked, when Mark Andrews get hurt in the second quarter, they eventually just went back to running it, and it was rewarded with the game-tying touchdown drive. So it was strange to see a team that kind of seems to have, some kind of recipe for success deviate from that, because they know they've got an awareness of what they are. Just Lamar can make things work with these guys, but when the 2 top guys go, Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman, who obviously both left, Gus Edwards ended up leaving as well. The idea is that this offense is built to run the ball.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I think originally they are a running first team, but when you've got a guy at 6'6", it does help.
Yeah.
And I think because when Mark Andrews left, he realised I've got nobody to throw to here, so I'll run it and I'll make the short throws, and that's all you have to do at this level.
Yeah, aye. Especially with the Tampa defense at the minute, just they can't stop a cold, or like a runny nose. That's what I mean. Tom Brady. I don't know. I think this is a little bit sad, if I'm totally honest. I think this is really sad. And at the start of this podcast, when I very first started making this podcast, and for years getting into this NFL, obviously I made it very known the fact that I dislike Tom Brady quite a lot. I don't think he's a good person, but that doesn't mean anything on the football field. He's been very uncharacteristic this year, especially in this game. 26 for 44, 325 yards and a touchdown. But he missed so many high percentage throws. We've seen him make countless times over the years. And it just seems really unfounded and just sad. The guy, obviously, his divorce was confirmed the other day. And, I wonder if he's maybe just lost a little bit of love for this game.
I'm heartbroken for him. He's going to probably walk away with about $30 million. I'm heartbroken for him.
Yeah, of course, but...
But as we keep saying on this podcast, and I don't know why you just said that, because you're the first person that does it. When your man in Green Bay makes a bad throw, you blame the receiver.
No. I will blame. I've been blaming Aaron Rodgers a lot this year. I think it's been his problem. He's been a part of the problem, but he isn't getting the help. But the thing is, it's like Tom Brady has been like these throws that we've seen him make so many times, and it's not just like an anomaly to this game. He's been kind of doing it all year, but never to such an extent like in this game. And he went for one for 5 on passes in the red zone.
That's poor.
And this was his first 3-game losing streak since 2002, which maybe could be some kind of solace because the Buccaneers won the Super Bowl in 2002. So we'll see.
We said on this show when we did the predictions that Tampa Bay will get hot about November, December.
I think
time.
so. Yeah.
So that was October.
Yeah. Look, they had, obviously it wasn't to this extent, but they had a slow start in 2020 and obviously went on to win the Super Bowl. The Rams had a slow start last year, went on to win the Super Bowl. I wouldn't be worried if you're a Buccaneers fan. Look, it does look like the sky is falling down and it's a disaster and everything like that. But honestly, I just wouldn't put it past Tom Brady to pull something out of his you-know-what and,
yeah, definitely.
They're in the mix come January. But just to kind of finish up for this game, it was both teams obviously lost a lot of key players to injury. We spoke about Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews, and Gus Edwards, but the Buccaneers have lost Shaq Barrett for the rest of the year with an Achilles injury. So that's going to hurt their chances. But from what we've learned, we've seen this for 23 years now. Tom Brady doesn't need like another guy. He will find a way to make it happen, some way or another.
Yep, Tom Brady's your man. If you want a shootout, he's your man.
Exactly. And I'm glad that I'm in a place of reflection now where I can accept that for what it is and not be so filled with vitriol and hate towards him.
Yeah, well, that's until, February to end of January when he wins in the NFC chip title game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he puts the Vikings out of it, I might not be too upset.
Well, the Vikings might not be there because Kirk doesn't do Mondays.
Yeah, true. All right, well, that does it. We'll go for a short break, and then when we're back, we'll touch on the Sunday games. That is another Sunday done and a Monday done. We're doing all this in one setting this time. So we'll start off with that London game. Broncos 21, Jaguars 17. What do you think?
As a whole, it was a good game.
Mm-hmm.
There was touchdowns.
Yeah, that's good. For the Broncos, that's not always a given.
Considering I said, something like 15-9 or 15-12.
Yeah, sort of yeah, you did. 15-9, yeah.
Yeah. I think both teams were pretty struggling on offense.
Mm-hmm.
But Russell Wilson showed why they're paying him $250,000.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a couple of the throws he made were what you expect of Russell Wilson.
Yeah, just like glimpses of what we've seen from him through the years. The one
that springs to mind straight away is the one in the fourth. Mm-hmm. That one to KJ Hamler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the Jaguars though, Trevor Lawrence is still making far too many errors. Far too many.
Yeah, he was pretty rubbish in this one. He had errant passes to receivers pretty much all day.
But great performance from Travis Etienne.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I was going to say that.
Point this week on fantasy.
Yep, 156 yards on 24 carries, and he was really the only bright spot for the Jaguars on offense. As we say, Trevor Lawrence was pretty rubbish.
Yeah, and you see, this is why, and this is more a fantasy thing rather than anything in general.
Mm-hmm.
I know you've got a Jags wide receiver in your team.
Christian Kirk, yeah.
But he's not going to deliver if Trevor Lawrence can't throw him it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
mean, even that throw, the interception right at the end that iced the game for the Broncos, it was a stupid throw.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he really could have. He doesn't even have to lead his receiver wide. I think at the time he still had one timeout.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you've got any number of timeouts, 1, 2, or 3, the whole field's open to you. Chuck it over the middle, get down, call a timeout, and then plan on getting to the sideline.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But one major bright spot for the Broncos is definitely their defense. It's keeping them in games.
Yeah.
But the big news coming out of Denver, there's 3 players on the trade block.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Jeudy,
the
tight end with a really long name, about 8 million points in Scrabble.
Albert Okwebunam, I think it is. I did listen to somebody how to say it. It's something ridiculous. It's crazy.
And Bradley Chubb.
Surprised at that.
So on the Jags trading block, Josh Allen.
I'm very surprised at that. I thought he'd be in line for a big term contract in maybe the next year.
I think a lot of teams at this stage have realised at times that the division's gone. Maybe it's, well, not gone, but likelihood of getting it's quite hard. So let's just build now for next year.
Yeah.
And the team next year, I'm going to make a bold prediction to go from worst to first right now is the Bears. But we'll get onto that later on. But they're going to go from either third or fourth in that division. They're going to win it.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
That's just, but we'll move on to that later on.
Yeah, that's not actually, that's in just another game in just a second. It's like we've got one more game and then we'll talk about them. I thought that Greg Dulcich was very good for Denver in this one. 3 big catches for first downs in the third quarter, and he finished the day with 4 catches for 87 yards. So that's a potential lifeline for Russell Wilson there. And I thought that the Broncos bounced back pretty well from another terrible start. They punted 3 times. Russell Wilson threw a pick. And then they had 3 straight touchdown drives, and Wilson looked good connecting with Jerry Jeudy. So I'm surprised that he's on the trade block, but hopefully Green Bay picks up the phone, and maybe by the time we finish this podcast, Jerry Jeudy's a Packers player.
You just want a wide receiver.
Yeah, literally.
You'll take anybody.
I'll take anybody. Well,
we John off the street.
But yeah, no, I think this was a very much needed win for both teams, really, and the Broncos took it. And Jags now, is that 5 in a row they've lost?
Yeah,
that's a big hole to come out of with the Titans winning.
That's why I think that a lot of teams now are starting to build a wee bit for next year because they know the division's gone. That division is now gone.
Yeah, I think it's just too much of a hole for the Jags to climb out to, and that's a shame because I felt there was a lot of optimism. When we first had you on for your very first show, I think you were sneakily optimistic about how good this team could be with Doug Peterson coming in and Trevor Lawrence in his second year in a system without a complete psychopath at head coach, and Travis Etienne coming into the mix, obviously coming back from this injury. So, I'd be gutted if I was a Jags fan.
You also spent $200 million on a wideout.
Yeah. He's been okay, but
he can't do anything unless Lawrence throws the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm telling you, what use is Trevor Walker to Trevor Lawrence?
How does that help Trevor Lawrence?
Exactly.
Well, the Jags defense is good. It is good, and he's been a in the mix as a pretty good player. He's been better than Aiden Hutchinson in my book right now, because he's been around. Do you know what I mean? He's been making plays, whereas Aiden Hutchinson's been missing for a month and a half.
Exactly.
So, but regardless, we'll move on to this game. Falcons 37. Panthers 34. Let this one be a lesson against flipping your picks. The first pick that any of us have flipped so far this season, I did initially have the Panthers to win this. The Falcons to win this one, and I did, as we were analyzing it, I flipped, and I was punished for it. Panthers obviously losing there. PJ Walker and Marcus Smart.
We did take the plus 4.5.
Yes, we did. We all did. So that I suppose there is a silver lining there.
Told you 4.5 was too much to overcome. I told you.
Yeah. You just think, I'll get onto it in a minute with DJ Moore, but PJ Walker, Marcus Mariota, both very, very good. Walker bounced back from a bad first half, threw 250 yards and led four straight scoring drives, especially that 62-yard pass to DJ Moore to tie the game up, potentially take the lead. Marcus Mariota, it was his birthday on Sunday. Didn't know that. But he had 3 touchdown passes and a big time run for a first down in overtime to set up the game winner. So I really like how the Falcons are using Marcus Mariota. Like, I just think that it's really smart football they're playing. And, they've got their limitations on offense. That is the case. But I think that Arthur Smith is a smart coach, and he knows exactly how to get the best of Marcus Mariota. On
the Falcons, another Funnily enough, it's another one of my fantasy picks as well.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts got involved, which is
There
good.
we go. Yep.
And is it Tyler Algier?
Algier, yeah.
I've got him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Two of them had big days, which is what Falcon fans are looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Have an identity. There is nothing wrong with running the football. Yes, it's boring, but there's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't need to be a Ferrari on offense if the Ford Focus works.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it.
It's nice to have a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Also, there is no point, like there's some offenses, we'll get onto them later on in the show, who are a Ferrari on offense but are driven like a Fiat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, I like my analogies today. I'm quite
you're on fire a little bit here.
But Falcons have an identity. Panthers have an identity as well. Deontay Foreman. I mean, I think because obviously CMC was there, you're not concentrating on the second and the third stringer.
Yeah.
But now that he's away, him and Chuba Hubbard splitting the carries between them, it will have defenses sweating a wee bit because Deontay Foreman's a big, strong lad. He's not like, a whippet.
But Chuba Hubbard's your kind of agile speed back, and Deontay Foreman's like the guy that he's a bruiser, runs behind his pads and makes a hit to keep going, and very good pickup on fantasy. I took him in another league, and I'm very happy with that move. We need to talk about DJ Moore here. One of the all-time terrible mistakes at terrible time, tying the game up. Obviously, we did allude to it. 62-yard, reception. Essentially a Hail Mary from PJ Walker. Tied the game up at 34-34. But then he took his helmet off in a celebration, and that's a big no-no. Moved the resultant PAT back 15 yards. So a 33-yard kick becomes a 48-yard kick, and Eddie Pinheiro missed. And it took the game to overtime. So
there was a lot of it this week. After the touchdown, personal foul, taunting, a lot of it.
That was in the Rams game. That was like Allen Robinson. We'll get to it, but that was a bull jive call right there.
2 seconds. I've got a free bet.
That's good.
Don't know what I'm going to use. I've got a free bet.
Put it on your score for this week.
Oh, don't start that now. I've had a shocker.
This was your segment, and this is not looking good. Maybe I'll need to take over that segment next year because we'll just need to sack you.
That's fine, not a problem. In fact, you know what? I'm going to be nice. You can have the Scots and 6 this week.
I'm fine. I really don't want it. maybe you could switch it up next year. Go for the over-under points. I
don't do that over-under points because, it's not so much. It's like the scorching 6, and it's not as if I've had bad weeks in terms of the records. See if you actually took the amount of times where I've said -3, and it's been 3. If we counted that as a win, I would be fucking way ahead.
Yeah, that's it.
So it's not my fault.
Who's the one that picks it again? Just remind me. Regardless.
Yeah, well, you know what? At least my partner's nice to me. Yours couldn't even let you win at fantasy.
I know. Honestly, like the fantasy gods are against me this year. My squad is stacked, and I'm 4-4. I don't know what it is.
I mean, you look at my fantasy squad.
Yeah,
I've got 1 o'clock. I've got 1 o'clock Kirk.
Yeah, maybe you did win that trade for Kirk Cousins.
I've got Tyler Algier. I've got Darius Slayton, and I've got Tony Pollard.
And I've got Kyler Murray, Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, Justin Jefferson, Gabe Davis. Keep going. And I'm 4-4. I only got 1 more win than you. So.
No, I'm 4-4. You cheeky.
Are you 4-4?
Yeah, I won this week. Gave the guy an absolute ticking. And I think
I think it was my dad.
Sorry?
I think it was my dad you beat, so.
All right. And this week, I think I've got a win as well because it's against that guy that's 12th.
Owen.
Oh, is it? Is that Owen the Panthers fan?
Yeah, I think he's tanking for the number one pick. Not little does he know it's an auction draft. Number one pick means nothing. So
yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's move on.
Let's keep going. We've got the Cowboys winning here against the Bears, 49-29. And Chris, you talk about this game. I actually want to find if this is scoregami. I meant to do this.
Tony Pollard is a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Dak's back.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Dak? He's back. CJ Lamb. CJ Lamb? I'm just making up quarterback. Wait, isn't it? CD Lamb. Mm-hmm. He's playing well. And I just think that the Cowboys are a sneaky good. The problem is they're going to be a wild card team.
Mm-hmm.
Because the 15-2 Eagles will obviously win that division.
15-2 Eagles. Shut up. God's sake, this scoreline is not scoregami. It's only ever happened once before, back in 2010. We were so close. Sad times, sad times. Obviously, if you don't know what scoregami is, it's unique scorelines in NFL history. And there's been, I think it's about 1,045 unique scores. I think we've only had one this season as well, which is disappointing. So for this scoreline to only have to not be scoregami, it's a big loss here. Damn.
I'm waiting on thingy. I'm waiting on the time we have to analyze a game when it's like 5-3. I'm waiting to analyze that.
There's been like, I think the most surprising scoreline that's never been, fulfilled in NFL history is 36-23. It seems like a kind of very plausible one. It's kind of around, 23 is around those numbers you see. 36, not so much, but it's not a weird number. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I'm surprised we've never seen that. 8-7's never been in either.
Technically, it's only 5 touchdowns with one being a 2-point conversion.
Exactly. Or yeah.
I still think there.
Yeah, Tony Pollard was great in this. We made the most of his time as the lead back with Ezekiel Elliott injured. 131 yards and 3 scores on just 14 carries. Really, really good.
43.7 points this week on fantasy.
Crazy. I think the Cowboys would be good just moving on from Zeke, to be honest. I think he's too injury prone. This PCL injury that he suffered last year is clearly hampering him.
Well, phone up Jerry Jones. Kareem Hunt and Cam Akers both on the block.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of Zeke.
Yeah, just move him on. I think he can still provide for a team. That's not a question, but I just think that
he's not a lead back.
Yeah, I don't think he is anymore. And saying this, he'll probably have about 25 carries for 271 yards and 4 touchdowns when I see them at Lambeau.
Yeah. Well, I've already got that. That's actually a Scotcher that week. I'm going to have it.
Oh, fair enough.
I don't know what the point is yet, but we're going to have that one. Only because you're away.
That's it. And with Dak, like you were saying, I think that this was vintage Dak Prescott. This one, he led 4 straight touchdown drives to get out early to 28-7. He did throw a bad pick in the first half as the Bears started closing in, but he made an all-time throw to Dalton Schultz on 3rd and 9 for 30 yards. And this is just what we've seen from Dak over the years. And it's great to see him back and just, obviously suffered that big leg injury a couple of years ago. Bit of a year last year. And then obviously the thumb injury this year, but good to see him back at full strength. I feel like the league's better when Dak Prescott is better. Yeah,
I mean, it does help. I actually had him as my original quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I've moved off him.
Yeah.
And I have 4 quarterbacks on my roster.
Yeah. It's a strange move, but you just hauling quarterbacks. You're like, have you ever seen The League? It's a TV show about fantasy football. It's finished now. It's 7 seasons, but it is really good. There's a big stoner in it called Taco, and he just stashes kickers. He's got like 8 kickers on his roster or something like that. So
I had 1 o'clock Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I didn't. Dak got rid of him and got Carson Wentz, and then he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I got rid of him and I got Bailey Zappi.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if he was going to start, so I got Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm. I put you onto that, by the way. You would.
I wasn't then sure what was going to happen with the Mac Jones thing, and I also had Zach Wilson. And then some guy phoned me up and said, I want your star wide receiver that's hurt. Have a quarterback. And I did.
Well, I was happy with that at the time because Kirk was washed. And Justin Jefferson was annoying me. He was almost on the trade block as well, and maybe he could be if he doesn't put up some numbers soon.
By the way, if you want one of my receivers who are having a good year, I'll take Justin Jefferson off you. And knowing your luck, he's going to have 300 yards reception.
I know I'll regret it, so I'll probably keep hold of him. But I thought that the Bears' offense looked pretty capable in this one. Justin Fields avoided turning the ball over and threw he had a lot of good throws to help extend drives. They had 240 net yards rushing against a really, we tout this defense, this Dallas defense a lot, and 240 net rushing yards, really good outing. So 29 points probably wins you a couple of games against other teams where, I think the defense let them down in this one.
Pick me.
Yo.
Putting my GM hat on.
Mm-hmm.
Tank.
Bears.
Yep. Lose. Get the number 2 overall pick and then trade the thing for multiple picks. You don't need a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
They have like 97 million picks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. That's the news, actually. They did trade away Roquan Smith just yesterday to the Baltimore Ravens for a 2nd and a 5th next year.
And AJ Klein.
Oh, I missed that. Didn't hear that bit.
Just draft offensive and defensive linemen and a couple of receivers. That's it.
I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I think the offensive line class next year is pretty stacked. So even if they didn't want to trade like a high pick away, if they had maybe like a top 5 pick, they could probably sneak in and get Will Anderson, who's the best player in college right now, edge rusher of Alabama.
Oh, well, I suppose if you're going for that, that's fine.
I think if you're in the position to take the best player in the class, no matter what your situation is, you just do it, because the offensive line, they can work with that.
Thank you, Dave Gettleman.
Yeah.
Just draft best available. Now that's coming up trumps because Daniel Jones was the 6th best player in that draft. It only took him 5 years. About 4
Just
years.
about. And what, 4 coaches?
Yeah.
All right.
And this podcast.
Yes, exactly. Shall we keep going here? We've got the Dolphins winning 31-27 against the Lions, and the Lions are just...
I got that one right in my scorching 6, -3.
Yes, that's good. -3.5, just.
It doesn't matter if it's just.
It counts.
All that matters is what you accomplish in life, not how it's done.
Exactly. Get the job done.
I actually quite liked this game. It was almost like, see if that had been the Sky game.
Mm-hmm.
You could have sat and watched that game all day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it would never have got... that game came down to one defense making a stop.
Mm-hmm.
That was it.
Yeah.
I think, you may as well just have had, you score, we score, you score, we score. It was one of those games. Why is Jared Goff so good? I mean, crap.
Mm-hmm.
But put him indoors and he's fine.
Yeah. I know. It's like Jared Goff's capable, right? And he was okay. I don't think he had any turnovers in this one. But in the second half, they just fell apart. I mean, possibly to do with the fact they just were not on the field. They had 3 possessions in the second half in total. 67 yards, defense being gassed. So to keep this close, it's a moral victory, all things considered. But they couldn't run or pass. They were behind the chains constantly, facing 3rd and longs. Just really impossible for them to make an impact. They did have Amon St. Brown and DeAndre Swift back, but when you beat yourself, it's tough to win in this league. Of
course, and with your wife as well having the cheat code known as Jamal Williams.
Yes, exactly, Jamal, some guy. Love that guy so much. Miss him.
Well, why don't you try this for a trade with her? can I have Jamal Williams or we're not getting married? Try that. See what happens.
Yeah.
You might go, take the ring back.
I'll just pick up like a backup kicker or something like that. You have to trade me Jamal. Yeah. With the Dolphins, I thought that Tua has taken a very important next step as a quarterback, because we obviously seen him get pulled out of games for Ryan Fitzpatrick. For him to keep, the team clearly trusts him now. When they didn't, for the first 2 years of his career, he went 29 for 36. That's the thing with Tua. He's accurate, but he was never efficient. But this was efficient. There's 382 yards, 3 touchdown passes. Because of this, Tyreek Hill's on pace to break the receiving record with about 2,000 yards. The one that kind of stuck out to me was that the Dolphins accumulated 476 total yards of offense. Yes, against a broken defense,
yes,
a lame duck defense, but he had a big time throw to Tyreek Hill with 2 minutes to go in the game, and that sealed the deal. And in times before, you've seen that. I mean, I don't know if there's many quarterbacks in the league that the coaches trust them to make a throw late in the game in a 1-score game to put the game away, to throw it. I think you could maybe count them on a couple of hands. You get Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, maybe not at the minute. Is that it?
Kirk Cousins at 1 o'clock.
Well, all times. I want all times. 2-minute warning. Do you trust your quarterback to throw? I think it's just those two.
Derek Carr. Not at the moment, but
definitely not at the moment. Maybe not with Josh McDaniels as his head coach. I think it's maybe Joe Burrow, maybe, if he's got his full complement.
He's not elite anymore.
Get out of here. Get out. I'm doing the rest of this podcast myself.
I'm getting off that train after last night. I actually finished my cleaning early to sit and watch it.
Aye.
I rushed my dishes and everything.
I mean, I think on paper it had all the makings of a good game, but we'll get onto it. We will get onto it. You got anything else to say about this one? I don't know if I do. No. All right. We'll
Detroit next week. They've got a hard game.
What's that?
They have a hard game next week.
The Lions.
Yep.
Against an annoyed Packers team.
We'll see. They could beat them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm worried.
Well,
right. If that's a scorcher, I'm taking the points. If it's the Lions. Right. Here we go. This was a kind of a decent game, right? Vikings 34, Cardinals 26. Right. I still, there's something about Minnesota, right? They're 6-1. They've won the division. Packers, it's finished for me, right? It's fine.
It's just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
The t-shirts.
Yeah. I mean, is that maybe just to appease Jake? I don't know, but our friend of the show.
Put the logo on it. It says "We run the North," because right now they're running that North.
Yeah. Look, my concern is this. Right, I don't think I trust them to turn up for a playoff game. Right? If they bring it, if they've got maybe a Giants or a Cowboys going to Minneapolis in January, and even like a 49ers or something like that, or a Seahawks maybe. Seahawks could keep up with them.
With the Vikings, right? It's not like going to Lambeau or going to Foxborough or going to Buffalo. It's indoor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The elements aren't there.
Yeah.
What will freak teams out is the noise level. Yeah. However, I've spoke to Roger Goodell. He's going to have that game the Sunday afternoon game. Right. Right. My missus has just burst out laughing at that comment. Should they get through the first week, the next one's going to be again at 1 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
He's moved the Super Bowl to 1 o'clock. All this to help Kirk.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, we watched that game because obviously I have a dodgy stream link that I can find and watch all the games.
No, you have a legitimate stream link. What are you talking about?
Yeah, because Game Pass wasn't working.
Okay. Yeah, so you got Game Pass. It's fine. It's like running an emulator.
Yeah, so what I had to do is I had to use an alternative link to get it. So anyway, so we'll start watching it. I have never seen a 5-year-old get very angry at Kirk Cousins' touchdown. Her quote was, this is brilliant, "Don't just stand and admire him, go tackle him."
I love it.
Then Kyler Murray got sacked, and she said, and she took my line, "Go pick on someone your own size." So yeah, she doesn't like, but I thought she might like Kirk Cousins. He's number 8. But anyway,
yeah. Like so. Yeah, like I said, I don't think I would trust the Minnesota in a playoff game right now. They've got time to turn it around. All right, I think the offense looked pretty good. Cousins was 24 for 36, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he ran for 1. But the defense and Greg Joseph once again made this closer than it should have been. I mean, they grabbed sacks at important times, but this one felt like they were brushing with death, and it could have. And to be honest, if I was a Vikings fan, I'd probably consider this one crisis averted. I think this one was very much in the Cardinals' grasp to win this.
If you look at the Vikings over the last 3 years, the first year I think they went something like, it was like 7-2 in 1 possession games. Last year that record sort of flipped. This year I think there's 6-0, 7-0, something like that in 1 possession games. If you can get those 1 possession games as wins, you're fine.
Yeah.
If you can't get those 1 possession games and they turn into L's, you're snookered.
Yeah.
And you cannot, and no fan base, and I don't care what team you are, Green Bay, Minnesota, or the Texans, they're not going to accept, oh, well, we were close. We still end up with an L.
Yeah. To the Cardinals, DeAndre Hopkins, he's back. Right. 12 catches for 159 yards and a superb touchdown catch. Awesome. One-handed. That was ridiculous. One of the best of the year. My only concern going forward here is that Kyler Murray could begin to suffer from Aaron Rodgers syndrome, where he only trusts one guy. The good thing for Kyler Murray is that, he's got, a solid backfield. Benjamin is very good. James Conner, whenever he turns up, I think he should come back in the lineup soon. And obviously he can run himself. So
if I was Steve Keim right now, I'd get on the phone to Carolina.
Yeah.
Brian Burns is on the trade block.
Yeah. Bring in another Carolina player.
Him on one side and JJ Watt on the other.
That becomes a scary defensive front at that point.
And also, get Bradley Chubb. Stick him in as well.
Cardinals going all out.
I'm worried here. I mean, because I'm an offensive guy. I don't know anything about the defense.
just throw in some words. Just cover 3, man coverage, fire, safety, blitz. You know what you're talking about, really.
Go find the guy that's got the ball and hit him hard. That's it.
I mean, that's how. Yeah, exactly. That's how I know. That's how I can psych people out when I'm playing Madden in person. Just say words. Nobody knows defenses. It's not a thing. I'm just convinced the defensive concepts are just something that's made up on the fly. Cover 1, cover 2. The fact that there's no cover 5 makes no sense. It's got cover 0 all the way to 4. No cover 5, but then there's cover 6. And then some, there's a version of cover 6, which is cover 9. What does it mean?
Based on what you've just said, that I'll let Bill Belichick know, and I'll let Matt Eberflus know, and I'll let Sean McDermott know.
Their lives have been a lie. It's all just part of a hive mind. Defensive coaches only exist in part of a hive mind that just understand this concept that's been made up.
Yes,
but none of it actually exists. It's like defensive concepts are not real.
Why don't you ask Joe Barry to discover the defensive concept?
He's not part of a hive mind. He's part of a guy that's lost his mind.
Anyway, we'll get to that.
All right. How's that game? Let's get this last one. We'll go for a break, and then we'll finish up.
Go for it. Go for the Saints 24 in the Raiders nil. And Devontae Adams struggle. And Derek Carr. Right. The
Saints 24, Raiders zilch.
They had an off day.
Yes. The grass ain't greener, is it, Devontae? Get in the bin, mate.
If I slide you off the toll this season about Aaron Rodgers, no. So don't have a dig at my guy.
No, I'm not having a dig at your guy. I'm. You know, that Raiders team is great. It's Josh McDaniels is the problem there, and I'm loving it because Devontae Adams has got to be seething right now. I know we aren't doing much better, but
Devontae Adams, he can't throw and catch. Derek Carr, he can't throw and catch. Hunter Renfro, he can't throw and catch. Right? The Saints had a good day. My God, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to get absolutely smacked next Monday. My God, the Saints won. Woo!
Don't shout at me. I'm only having a laugh here. Man, you're such a chill guy. You seem so angry right there. I'm just laughing at Devontae. It's nothing against Derek Carr.
What's Devontae Adams' fault? He can't throw and catch.
I don't start crying, Chris. Please don't do this to me.
I'm going to get upset now. Do not slag off Devontae Adams. He wanted to play with a better quarterback. He wanted to give other guys a chance.
Yeah.
Probably should have stayed in Green Bay. I'll give him that. That's beside the point, but
yeah.
I know.
All right. That's a major disagreement. Almost a beef bit there, you know? Bit of beef between me and Chris right there. That was scary. I was like, oh my God, are you actually falling out with me right there? You look so angry. It's cool.
Derek Carr has to change his number. That's the problem.
There you go. It needs to be number 8.
No, he needs to be any number that's not a multiple of 4.
Yeah, but then you won't like him anymore.
No, but what we do because the Kirk Cousins and Trevor Lawrence and Lamar Jackson and I don't like Tom Brady and he's number 12. So there you go. See,
so is it like every other?
Well,
it must be every other multiple of 4 because you get 4 you like, or 4 you don't like, 8 you like, 12 you don't like, 16 you like.
Derek Carr.
Well, I don't know.
We'll work something out, but yeah,
we're workshopping it. You were. I was very scared. I was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna have to find a new co-host because Chris is like just storming out. He's done. He's finished with me. It's over." I don't really. I don't have much analysis on this game. I was just laughing too much at it. Saints defense. You know, this was a big time performance for them. They've been pummeled in their last 4 games. They allowed 132 points combined and hadn't allowed less than 28 points in a game since September. So for them to turn it around in this fashion is a huge confidence boost for them going forward against an offense which has playmakers. Yeah, that's no lie. You know, they ruined Josh Jacobs' day. Devontae Adams was a non-factor. He was an also ran. You know what I mean? So
Hunter Renfro had a bad day as well.
Yeah, Mac Hollins.
For me, you've got your thing there. Was Tre'Quan Smith out?
Tre'Quan Smith. Let's spell it right.
Or did he just not get involved?
Tre'Quan Smith. He had 1 target, but didn't catch it.
Right. No, because I got 0 points for him on my fantasy.
No, he had 1 target, but he played 38 snaps, but 1 target, but didn't catch it. So that's what it is. All right, then we'll take a short break and we'll get back to the remainder of the games in the slate. Patriots 22, Jets 17. Bit of a derailment there.
Yep, the flight failed to land properly. That was a strange game.
Yes, very, very strange. I think that Mac Jones seemed back to his best after a rocky start to the season. Got the ball out quicker in the second half, led 4 scoring drives to open up a double-digit lead. He was sacked 6 times, but the Jets' pass rush is very, very good. He was overall very solid in what has been a tough season for the second half. Second-year signal caller so far. Obviously, been injured in that stretch. But I think that he has done enough now to not have to worry about his job going forward.
Yeah.
If there was ever a question about it.
Do you know, with coaching, oh God, now I'm a coach. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you've got young players with an old coach.
Mm-hmm.
They coaches can sort of coach them a wee bit, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Belichick's not an offensive guy. He doesn't. I think Bill Belichick wouldn't an offensive playbook if it was sat on his table. The Patriots are the weirdest team in the world because they do not have. They have a defensive guy calling offensive plays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Could they not pick a guy out the crowd?
Yeah. It does. It seems a strange one. You think that, like, I can see the logic to an extent. You go for like a defensive guy can see the looks before they happen and can audible out of it. But I feel like his strength obviously wouldn't be at picking the best offensive plays.
Yeah, it's very strange.
With the Jets, I think that Zach Wilson's becoming a problem. 3 picks on this one, including 1 on a pass that was meant to be thrown away. I mean, that just can't happen. Not in this league. Definitely. He made several very bad decisions versus the Patriots defense. The loss of Breece Hall to support his limited passing ability could stuff this Jets season, unfortunately. We'll wait to see. Michael Carter's obviously very good. We'll see what James Robinson's like when he kind of gets in the mix there. But I think that the fact that Zach Wilson has been back now 4 or 5 games, is it? Mm-hmm. 5 games. And Joe Flacco is still their passing leader. Says a lot to me. I mean, can you think of, like, you know, a good passing game he's had since he got back? I can't.
No, I can't. But he did sleep with his mum's best pal, so
there you go. See, you get a pass for these kind of things when these happens. So
I just think the Jets are a wee bit of a at the moment to watch.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be a tough game next week. They've got the Bills. Could this have been a crash landing for the Jets? I don't know. Because they could be derailed or de-winged. I don't know what you want to say. With a visit of the Bills, or visiting the Bills. I can't remember which way around it is, but
well, I had a look at that line.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo -12.5.
I think I'd take the Jets points on that.
Yeah, but we'll get to that.
We'll get it next week. But nothing much else really to say about this one. Strange scoreline. Not a good performance for Zach Wilson. He just can't seem to do it against the Patriots, and Bill Belichick just has his number.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, then.
Definitely. But the Jets, it was going like that. Now it's starting to go like that a wee bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The only place it can go now is nosedive. But you never know. The pilot might just correct it.
They might figure it out. I'm sure they will. They are a good team. The defense is really, really good.
And they'll be flying high.
Yes. All right, then. Let's move on to the Eagles against the Steelers, where the Eagles won 35-13. I got my score prediction actually pretty close. I think it's 31-13. So it's 4 points out. You had 38-7, which is still kind of close, you know? So 6 for the Steelers and 7 for the Eagles. So 13 points out for you, but so pretty close. See, we kind of do know what we're talking about on this show, you know?
Yeah, just getting picks. Just pick them.
Yeah. All right, see with the Eagles, I just like you can say what you like about Daniel Jones and the Giants. I don't know where they lose, right? I think they will. Okay, they will at some point, and I think it'll be against a team that's got no business beating them. But I've asked this couple of questions, and I just can't see on paper. I can't see a game left that they stumble badly and lose. Like they're going to go 10-0. Like it's not even a question, and they answered every question in this one perfectly.
Give me 2 minutes. I'm going to make a bold prediction. I want you to write it down when I make this prediction.
Okay.
I'm going to have a quick look at their schedule because I don't really, because obviously the 7-0 and everyone thinks they're going to, I'm going to have a quick look and I'm going to have a thingy. By the way, the Colts have just fired their offensive coordinator.
Breaking news. First one of the season that has been caught while we've been podcasting. Episoding.
Yes, well, I'm looking for something totally different.
It's not news about the Packers trading for a wide receiver. Not interested. Ratio plus L.
I haven't properly. Let me get a wee look. I'm gonna say they lose either week 12.
That's against Green Bay.
Yep. On prime time.
That's Monday Night Football, if I'm not incorrect.
Week 14.
That's the Giants.
Is at MetLife. Or week 16 at Dallas.
Okay. What do you want a Mountain Dew sandwich bet? We've not done one of them for a while. A Mountain Dew sandwich bet on they lose all three.
I think they'll go 1-2.
1-2 there. I'll take you on that. I think they'll win all three.
Oh, okay.
I do. I really do. I think that they'll be close. I think they'll all be close games, but I do think they'll win all three. I think the team is probably going to give them the most trouble there would be the Cowboys.
Oh, and Matt LaFleur's just spoke. He's not wanting to fire the defensive coordinator.
I actually listened to his press conference at work today, and yeah, there was no consideration of a change, which is what it is. It is what it is. All right, back to this one. The Steelers, their offense just, I don't know what to think with their offense right now. They barely had 300 yards of offense, which is, that's the baseline in this league right now. They went 1 for 12 on third down attempts. 3 of their first 4 possessions ended in punts, and they fumbled their next possession, making the game 28-13. It was over at that point. Jalen Hurts came out the game in the fourth quarter, and that was it. I think the Steelers they're a done deal at this point. Put them in for last.
Well, they're trying to get rid of Chase Claypool.
Price at that.
I mean, if they get rid of Chase Claypool, do they then do what I said about the Bears? Do they just try and go for his higher draft pick? Because they don't need a quarterback.
Yeah. That being said, if you're the Steelers and you somehow find yourself in a position to take maybe one of these 2-3 good quarterbacks, do you do it? Do you know what I mean? Because I just feel like, at the very least, Will Levis, the guy out of Kentucky, is the same floor right now as Kenny Pickett a year into his career.
The problem you have is, do you really want to tell the guy that he's got a first-round pick for, who played at nearby Pitt?
I don't know if that would go down well with the fans, but it's a business. And if Will Levis comes in and is lights the world on fire, which isn't impossible, I'm sure they're not going to complain for that long. Look, my view on it is this: if you don't have a quarterback, you keep swinging, right? The guy knows it's a business, so find a job elsewhere. Look, the Cardinals did it with Kyler Murray and Josh Rosen.
That was different.
But do you think that do you think that the Cardinals fans mind? They got back to the players. They were going nowhere fast with Josh Rosen.
Well, I said on the thing the night that we actually drafted Kyler Murray, the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
You know how much I love them in the NFC. It's really weird. I like the Cardinals in the NFC and the Jags in the AFC. I'm built for disappointment. I said it doesn't matter who Roger Goodell goes up and says, because it was obviously Nick Bosa and Quinnen Williams and all these other players. If Kyler Murray's selected, you just have to get behind him.
Yeah.
I don't think Pittsburgh's built right now to dump Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
What they need to do next year, just draft offensive linemen and find a couple of wideouts in free agency.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're really looking for a free agent, just phone up Green Bay. They don't re-sign their own free agents.
Yeah.
That's not a dig. That's just
no. I know. With this one, I'm not saying that the Steelers. Well, I think they get TJ Watt back. Kenny Pickett gets more and more accustomed to the pro game and the system, and I think they need to make a move with Matt Canada. I think the offense they need more of a spark than they've got with Kenny Pickett coming in, and I think that maybe moving on from Matt Canada could be the move at that point. But I think that they can figure things out. I don't think they'll have a high top 10 pick, if I'm honest.
Well, I always say you can fire whoever you like, but who's going to replace him? Who wants that job?
I mean, you got a young quarterback with, Najee Harris, who's a solid, top 10 back in the league. You've got George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, and Chase Claypool, maybe all there. That's a solid wide receiving trio. Pat Freiermuth's a good tight end. The only thing you need to fix on that offense is the offensive line, and that can be solved in the draft with a pick maybe at the bottom of the 8th, 9th, 10th pick.
Yeah, but who do you know that likes Kenny Pickett and could do offensive coordinator? You need someone who likes the quarterback.
That can be figured out when you bring a guy in. Right, he's part of the job interview. He says, "Look, you've got to get on with our guy Kenny Pickett here. If you don't think it's going to work out with him, from what you've seen, for what you've heard, from the things if you've spoke to him already, you should just walk out this meeting right now. Because if the Steelers are 100% behind Kenny Pickett, they've got to do what they can to get him into a position to succeed. And that is if that means getting rid of Matt Canada and bringing in a guy. Look, there's I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, but guys that, maybe Ben Johnson, I think he's the Eagles quarterbacks coach. He could be moving up for a promotion. Maybe offensive coordinator.
Me.
Yeah. He wears number 8, so that's a good start.
Yeah, there you go. Do you like this quarterback? What number is he?
Yeah. So yeah, so the Steelers are a mess. I think they're cooked, and but I don't think they're bad enough to be able to be in a position to take one of the top quarterbacks in next year's draft.
No, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. That's 1 and 2.
Yeah, they'll be going 1 and 2. Yeah, Will Levis will probably be gone before maybe 5. So,
but let's deal with that after week 18 when we look at the draft order.
Yes. We've got another one here. This was Titans 17, Texans 10.
That was a strange game.
Yeah. Not a fun one.
Wait a minute.
My lock.
No, not your lock. I know it was your lock, but not that. I never actually checked in the end.
Was this scored? I have it here. No, it wasn't a scorcher.
No. It wasn't.
Oh, Malik. Yeah, you're right.
Threw 10 times.
Well, he dropped back 13 times as well. So,
and he carried 5 times.
And it was only for 12 yards or something.
Yeah, it was for 12 yards. But I did say he will throw less than 20 times.
I think this was always the plan going in.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing for Sunday night coming up. The Titans could freak the Chiefs out.
Is that the Sunday night matchup this week?
Yes.
We don't want that guy Phil on to preview that game.
No, I have his fan lined up though.
Is it a Titans fan?
It is actually a Titans fan.
Good stuff.
I'll try and get a hold of him again tonight.
That's fine.
When I do all this work for you and you just edit it.
I know.
You get the easy job. I'm the one that has to go and speak to complete strangers.
With this one,
was I?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry is unstoppable.
Yeah, I think he's finally on track this season.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. I mean, I know we joke about fill the box, but I mean, he just breaks through it. I mean,
harder than it looks against him.
You know, I hope Tannehill's back.
Mm-hmm.
I think with Ryan Tannehill up against Patrick Mahomes, right? If it's Tannehill, I think Chiefs will win, but it will be maybe 8 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
Up against Malik Willis, it'll be about 23 points.
Yeah,
and that's not a dig at Malik Willis.
I think you could be maybe a little bit wrong there, because obviously the plan with Malik Willis under center would be to run the ball with Derrick Henry like they did in this game, and the Chiefs' defense is pish, right? Let's not beat around the bush here.
Language.
That's not that bad. That's mild language. Give me an ESRB rating for that. It's a 7+. Yeah,
Steve, you get angry during this.
Well, Derrick Henry, he's had 4 straight 100-yard rushing games, and this one he had 219 yards on 30 carries with 2 scores. That's the recipe for success in a game with an inexperienced quarterback who is clearly going to be a project. Is expected for the Titans offense, as we said, with Ryan Tannehill sideline. I think he was ill. I think I heard it was an injury, but I'm sure I read it was actually an illness.
Yeah, I mean,
he missed a walkthrough on Saturday. So,
do you know, the Titans have won that AFC South now. I think it's theirs to lose now.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, Jags are out of it. Texans are Texans, and the Colts will get onto them.
Try to get a quarterback going. All right, Malik Willis. Okay, I want to talk about this. Okay, so he's clearly a big project, right? He threw a bad interception in the first half, and he took 3 sacks on 13 dropbacks. Clearly, it's going to be typical of a young, dynamic quarterback who's going to try and make a play and hold on to the ball too long. My concern here is that he threw the ball just once in the second half, and I get it. Like, it's clear they don't trust him yet, but against a better team, Titans would be snookered with that. Ryan Tannehill means a lot to the starting lineup because they can trust him to make a throw.
Definitely.
And
I'll get to it in a minute, because I spoke to a Texans fan after that game, and I'll get onto that in 2 seconds.
My last point for this one is, right, the Texans are clearly the worst team in football, right? The Lions have a worse record, right? But at least they're competitive. Do you know what I mean? Texans,
yeah.
I don't know a single thing that the Texans do well, and unfortunately, I think that is probably the end for Davis Mills in Houston. That's nothing on him. I think he's actually really talented, and if you look at the numbers, he is the second best quarterback from the 2021 draft class by a lot of metrics that are pretty important. Touchdown percentage on throws, interception percentage, yards per game, all that kind of thing. So I think he's pretty talented and could find work elsewhere as a pretty solid backup. But when the draft rolls around and the Texans have a top 2 pick, his time in Houston as a star is probably over.
Well, I spoke to somebody who's actually been on this show before. I actually said to him, I like Davis Mills. If you have a bad record and end up with the top 2 pick, trade it and get multiple picks and players. And he says that Mills will be gone. There's talk of possibly trading. See the pick they got for from the Browns. They think they're going to go new quarterback, and according to him, he's obviously high in Houston.
Yep,
it's Bryce Young. So we'll see how it goes.
He's definitely a guy I want to look at in more depth and maybe like a pre-draft show. Bryce Young.
Next time the Texans will win will be week 13.
Love it. I might log that up just for Bants. Yeah, but I've got nothing else on this one. Pretty boring game, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right then. Here we go. Commanders 17, Colts 16.
That game should not have been that close. I mean, I didn't really watch much of it, I'll be honest.
Why would you want to? Oh, that's such a great quarterback matchup.
Oh, I was so excited.
Yeah, that's what you think about when you're talking about the NFL. You know, quarterback matchups. You've got Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen, and Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady, and Taylor Heineke versus Sam Ellinger. It's just box office right there. That's what people buy Game Pass for.
Oh, honestly, I've spoke to Washington fans and Colts fans and saying, how do you watch these things? Because right, we all watch Red Zone, so we're forced to. We don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And then we watch our own teams. And if if the Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night are good matchups, we'll watch them as well. But we're not going to want to sit. I mean, apart from me, obviously, only because I'm sort of forced to start or bloody say yes to the dress. Just wait, Kerry will be watching that soon.
Oh, probably.
What was it? I just think that, you know, some teams in this league are unwatchable. The Colts are unwatchable, and we all had them winning the division. You know, or at least competing in the division. Colts are a mess. Commanders, you know, they're having to win to try and keep pace. But I think that game was just crap. Period. Crap.
Yeah, with a sprinkle on top. I think Terry McLaurin proved he's still a top 5 wide receiver in this league. Yeah. He took over this game late by doing exactly what he did to Jair Alexander a week ago again, this time against Stephon Gilmore. 33-yard reception that set up the game-winning touchdown, and he finished the day with 6 catches for 113 yards on his homecoming because he's from Indiana, grew up supporting the Colts, and I think he won 3 high school state championships in that stadium. So there you go. There's worse places to do it.
And Taylor Heineke will now go out and buy his blue and white Nike Air Jordans.
That's right. Yes, he will.
He's got green and gold ones as well.
Not a fan of that.
And I have found a gem in fantasy.
Yeah.
Paris Campbell.
I think they need to do a lot more funky stuff with him in the offense. What they did with him was pretty good. I think they got him on an end around a couple of times, if I'm not incorrect.
Yep.
And a jet sweep. He's fast, so you know he's a guy. But with the Colts offense, just tire fire, right? Even with a new quarterback, Sam Ellinger started the game, but he fumbled in the second quarter. Then Jonathan Taylor also coughed the ball up close to the red zone. Backbreaking. When you watch the game tape, you see the Colts kind of outplayed the Commanders for most of the game.
Give me 1 wee second. I just want to see which unlucky person it was in our league that got Jonathan Taylor.
He's been just, oh my God, trade him away. And he's like a sell low kind of guy, really.
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan. In fact, oh no, it's not. It's a trade. Loose ends, whoever he is.
That's Adam. Yeah, our friend Adam.
Yeah, he's got Jonathan Taylor. Well, I mean, he's having a shocker. Let's move on.
Well, actually, I want to talk about Sam Ellinger.
I don't.
Well, I do. You know, there's not much to say. The guy didn't have much help. I thought he was solid from what we saw, right? His pocket awareness was better than expected. He moved around very well to avoid free rushers, essentially. He had a very nice 47-yard throw to Alec Pierce, but a lot of the same problems when Matt Ryan was under center continued. They went 1 for 3 in the red zone and 5 for 12 on third downs. So, you know, I think that there's potential there. The guy's clearly talented. And the Colts team, the boss, the figures at B, clearly believe in him. I think he could be the future. But so we'll wait and see. But I'd be optimistic for him as a Colts fan.
No, definitely.
All right, then let's keep rolling here. We have 49ers 31, Rams 14.
The Rams are a mess.
We've been saying this for weeks. I could probably say they're cooked.
Yeah, I mean,
the thing is, this NFC is so wide open. There's so many teams you'd think would be like, there's maybe like, 3 or 4 teams you'd book in for guaranteed play. You've got the Eagles, the Vikings, probably the 49ers, and then you've just got a bunch of like, the Cowboys as well.
I have a Super Bowl bubble, and I tried to be balanced, and I have 4 NFC teams in it. You got 2 of them right away.
Yeah,
Eagles and Vikes. I also have, because I think they'll work it out somehow, the Bucks. I do have them in it.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think if Dallas can keep things going, I've got them in it as well. Daniel Jones is outside it. Just.
He's on the cusp.
Aaron Rodgers is around about it. I'm waiting to see something that's going to get him in it.
Yeah.
Because I think, because it's his last year, I think Brady Rodgers NFC title game it's almost like the hand-picked matchup.
That would be incredible. I mean, 2 teams that are obviously really struggling so much so far, to turn it around and get to that game. I mean, I wouldn't like it because you book it in for a Packers loss, but at least our Super Bowl prediction maybe, right? We've got the Buccaneers in it.
Yeah, possibly.
Anyway, back to this game. So like, with the Rams, it's like I don't know if you could say they're cooked right now, but they need to figure things out quick.
Do they go for OBJ?
I don't know if he's interested in going back, like, just with the way Matt Stafford's playing, the offensive line can't keep him upright. Defense is just, I also don't think they've got a run game that can support the poor passing, play. Maybe OBJ comes in and they figure things out on offense, but when you look at the offense that they had, disappeared in the second half here, especially the run game. Ronnie Rivers, who's this guy? Malcolm Brown. He's had 5 carries in his career, and Darrell Henderson finished the game 47 yards on 17 carries combined. They obviously abandoned the run, but these are just guys. Darrell Henderson's the biggest star there. And that's Darrell Henderson. Come on.
Right. I'm going to make a prediction right now. I have not seen it, so if it's been leaked, I do apologize. The Sky game this week, the 9:25 game, it will probably be Tampa Bay and Los Angeles Rams.
My God, who'd you pick there?
That's not a scotcher. The Rams are underdogs by 3.5 points. 7-6.
Yeah, aye. No, 8-7. In this podcast, 8-7. We root for scoregami.
Well, maybe.
Look, with this one, I think this is a prime example of why they traded for Christian McCaffrey. Touchdown pass, touchdown catch, touchdown run. First player to have a hat trick like that. It's a perfect hat trick, essentially, to have all 3 in one game since LaDainian Tomlinson in 2005. There's a stat for you.
That is a stat.
And, I just think that Christian McCaffrey is the perfect fit for this Kyle Shanahan offense.
Yeah. And I think if they can keep it going, I think it's a 2-way show in that division.
Seahawks and 49ers.
Yeah. They have to figure things out over in Arizona to give them a chance.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if they get that going right now. They need some more light, more help.
Arizona's got Seattle.
I'll be interested. An interesting one. But I mean, Sean McVay just can't seem to get it done versus Kyle Shanahan. 49ers have won 8 in a row against the Rams in the regular season. McVay may have the playoff victory and the Super Bowl ring, but I'm sure he's itching to just find an answer in the regular season against his old buddy Kyle Shanahan. The Rams are swept by the 49ers for, again, 4 years in a row now. So I think that's one thing that maybe potentially Sean McVay decided to come back, because I think there was talks about him retiring after the Super Bowl or walking away or something. I don't know. there was something being figured out over there, and I think he wants to come back and beat his man in the regular season, which is strange. You think you won the ring, you beat him in the playoffs. That's when it really matters.
Yes.
Would you take 8 regular season losses against the guy if it mean beating him in the playoffs on the way to a Super Bowl ring? Of course you would.
Of course you would, yeah. I mean,
but I feel like as a perfectionist, as a coach that Sean McVay kind of probably is, you want to just get one over on your buddy more than anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, we've got time for one more, and then we'll go for another break, and then we'll finish off with the primetime games. Giants 13, Seahawks 27. Wheels kind of came off.
Yeah. So Kenneth Walker's wonderful. Daniel Jones to a crap game. Let's move on.
I think you can now write in stone the Seahawks won this Russell Wilson trade.
Oh, definitely.
Because everybody in Seattle seems to be way happier now he's gone. With Tyler Lockett taking a shot at Russell, like was thinly veiled as well, taking a shot at Russell Wilson in the post-game press. So he says, it's amazing what we can do when nobody cares who gets the credit.
Tyler Lockett should learn how to catch a ball.
That was unlucky, to be fair. And he did redeem himself with a great touchdown catch later on.
He should have had a walk-in.
Mm-hmm. The Seahawks offense has, we say that obviously that everybody in Seattle just seems much better off without him. But the Seahawks offense has looked much better than most people thought they would through 8 games. This one was a bit different. The offense is were a little bit slow to start. They were going, but Geno Smith, he found Tyler Lockett in the third for a score, and the game blasted open, and the Seahawks didn't really look back after that.
Yeah, I think Seattle, everybody's buying into Geno Smith.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this week, we'll sort that division out.
Mm-hmm.
If they beat Arizona, it's between the two of them.
Yeah, because then they have the tiebreaker over Arizona. And then that kind of, unless the Seahawks fall off monumentally, I don't think that Arizona can catch up at that point.
I mean, 49ers, have they got the week off?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, they do. So both teams really need to win that one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
I thought that the Giants had a bit of an anomaly game on offense. I wouldn't panic, all right? Saquon Barkley struggled to really get going, 53 yards on 20 and a score on 20 carries. Daniel Jones couldn't really get much going passing the ball. I think when those two are clicking, as we've seen this year, the Giants are fine. They will be fine. They'll be up there, and I think they'll still be a playoff contender. I think this is just,
Daniel Jones had a cut on his hand.
Yeah, exactly. His hand got bloodied up. So don't panic, Giants fans. Don't panic, Jones fans.
Yes.
They'll be fine. I wouldn't be worried for them at all.
No, definitely not.
That being said, I think this NFC East division race could be all but over. Eagles keep winning. It's hard to see how they get caught at this rate with the tiebreakers that they have. Could be wrong, but maybe it is over.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Does the NFC playoff road have to go through Lincoln Financial Field?
Could see it being the case because I just don't know where they get beat.
Mm.
At this stage, we've seen it any given Sunday. Who expected the Buccaneers to get beat off the Steelers? So, it's just on paper right now. The Eagles are the best team in the NFC, and it's not even close.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. We'll take a short break.
The Texans will win.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we've said that, the Texans will win on Thursday.
Yeah. All right. We'll take a short break. And when we are back, we will finish off with the 2 primetime games that finished off this week. Bills 27, Packers 17. And I think for the first time in maybe 3 weeks, I don't feel particularly angry. I'm not going scorched earth today on this one. I think this performance was exactly how the Packers should have been playing on offense the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Best defensive performance in the last 5 games. All starts with Aaron Jones getting the ball. He ran for 143 yards on 20 carries. AJ Dillon battled after a scary-looking knee injury to have 10 carries for 54 yards. And the team finished 208 rushing yards overall against the best run defense in the league. Been saying this for weeks. Aaron Jones makes good things happen. Just get him touches. He doesn't need to run, essentially. He just needs to catch, just to be with the ball. And when he ran, he made countless big plays, bouncing out to the outside, runs through the middle. He's so agile, he's so strong. He's just a great player, and he needs to be used more. Like, I remember last season, I remember going ballistic, pulling my hair out at the fact that Matt LaFleur would insist on using Aaron Jones at the goal line, at the 1 yard line, and you're thinking, why not get a guy that he weighs 250 pounds and have him blast it up the middle? And you can't stop that in 1 yard. I'm sorry, it rarely ever happens. Hard to do so, right? I'm the opposite this year. AJ Dillon just seems to be getting way more carries at weird times. This game was different, and obviously Aaron Jones got 10 more carries, and he made a big difference. Yeah.
The only problem with, of course, AJ Dillon running it up the middle was the fact that Kerry has him in fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I actually enjoyed this game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because it was the first time this year where I'd actually sat and watched the Packers, apart from Sunday night against the Bears.
Yeah.
But I actually really enjoyed this game. I haven't seen much of Buffalo either since week one, really.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you catch them on red zone, but again, as you say, that's only highlights, blah, blah, blah. But
yeah,
I actually enjoyed this game, and I feel that this Packers offense, once it gets everybody going, they will be a decent team.
Yeah.
They just have to find a clicking game where everything clicks. And I'm going to be honest with you, it could come against Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
It could come against the Titans.
Mm-hmm. I hope so.
Yeah, I know you hope that, but
as long as they win both games when I'm there, I'm happy. It's a successful season for me.
Oh, God. I know. I may have to get angry at on those review shows. I just think the Packers, they're getting there.
Yeah.
And, this week they have Detroit. They should win it. They
should. Like, use the same game plan. You can trust Aaron Rodgers to make the throws they make. I mean, obviously, they lost Christian Watson early, and they said, Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers said they both wanted him involved. They had a lot of plays dialed up for him. Sammy Watkins was a non-factor, 1 catch for 3 yards in the first drive of the game and never seen the ball again. So,
I want to talk about the other guy. Number 87.
Oh, Dobbs, yeah. Mm-hmm. He's a player. What? Please let him play through his rookie pains.
I mean, what a catch that was.
Mm-hmm. He's going to be some player. 100%. That's another steal in late in the draft for the Packers at wide receiver.
Yep. But I will now let you talk about Josh.
Actually, just one more thing. The Packers offense outgained the Bills by nearly 30 yards, 398 to 369, which, doesn't really matter. For how poor October has been for the Packers, this shows they're not done yet, and there could be a glimmer of optimism for the rest of the season. All right?
Yeah.
But let me talk about Josh and the Bills. I found it a bit disconcerting and a bit what to make about that is how the Bills let the Packers stick around with this one. A lot of people let them had them to smash Green Bay to smithereens. I mean, I said it on the podcast. I nearly took Bills minus 36 on the alternative money spread. Josh Allen had 2 interceptions, giving the Packers hope. Obviously, one of them, Aaron Rodgers gave the ball basically right back. Ultimately, they got the win, but this kind of sloppiness against a team that isn't so short on playmakers and confidence will be punished. I think if this was if there was a rematch against the Chiefs right now, the Chiefs would probably win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So,
can I say something about the game before it started?
Mm-hmm.
Stephon Diggs should be suspended.
Yep.
Yes. What is the need for him to come up? What is the need for him to come up to Jair Alexander before the game? What?
I like that. I like that because Jair Alexander's a infamous trash talker anyway. He's going to love that.
I don't mean that. I just mean, what was the need for him to do it on the field once you made a first down catch and you've turned 3rd and 14 into 1st and 10? That's fine. Do that. But don't do it before the game because what I don't like is, right, what if Josh Allen had thrown that ball 3 times to Stephon Diggs? Which, by the way, why put your star corner up against Gabe Davis when you should be up against Stephon Diggs? But that's a different day.
That was one thing.
What if Jair Alexander has 3 pick sixes and walks up to Stephon Diggs and starts the taunt and stuff? That's 45 yards on one player.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, was there any need for Stephon Diggs to do that?
I mean, I don't know, maybe not, but I think, you know, we know how much, like, you know, wide receivers are divas, right? That's just a fact of life in the NFL. And cornerbacks, you know, if they're good, which a lot of them are, they like trash talking. And Jair Alexander is notorious for his trash talk. So I know for a fact that Jair Alexander would have loved that. He was giving it back for one thing. So, you know, maybe it's not the nicest thing to see, but I don't mind it, if I'm quite honest. And I like how Jair gave it back and was like, yeah, I'm confident. I'm going to shut you down. And Stephon Diggs after the game, he's like, I ended him. I ended that. You weren't matched up against him, mate. Right? You didn't. You did nothing.
That's what I mean. There was no need for him to do it, you know. But anyway,
yeah,
Packers are going to be fine. And I think they just need to put everything together.
I think that, yeah, like moral victories like this one really don't get you anywhere in this league, right? So despite the positivity the Packers can take from this one, the margin for error the rest of the way is very thin now. I mean, the Vikings have won the division. They've got the biggest lead of any division in the NFL, essentially 4 games because they have the tiebreaker right now over the Packers. But the Packers need to execute in all 3 phases from now on to try and sneak in the back door. And I think that they could do it. This week could kickstart it all. I think if they stick with a similar game plan and they run the ball, keep drives going and not letting, you know, the Detroit offense, you know, come alive and take hold of this defense, then there's reason to believe that the Packers could, you know, be 6-5 and back on track over the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, but Matt LaFleur's going to change the whole game plan this week.
Yeah, probably. So, you know, encouraging. That's what, you know, my one word for this one is it's encouraging. You know, they actually look like they wanted to be there for the first time in a month. It looked like they wanted to be there and actually participating and playing in this one. And I'm happy to see it. Very happy to see it. It's been a change of pace, having all these losses in a row as a Packers fan, and to not really put up any fight in any of the losses is disappointing. But
yeah,
we'll move on. We'll keep going for the Monday night game where the Bengals were beaten down by the Browns 32-13, which also isn't scoregami. Seems like it should be, but it's not. Or is it? I didn't actually check. I don't think it is. No, it's not. It's happened 5 times before. Last time was November 21st last year. So,
when do you want to start, or shall I?
You go for it. You start.
Joe Burrow is not elite without his pal.
Yeah.
I think Jamar Chase makes Joe Burrow look good. Tyler Boyd is okay. I think he's not in the same class as like Devontae Adams or something like that, or Mike Evans, but he's good enough. I think in this league, they can't get anything going on the ground with Joe Mixon.
Yeah, they couldn't run out of a wet paper bag.
The offensive line is pretty poor. I mean, they've tried everything with that offensive line. I mean, I've heard that they're allowed to put 11 offensive linemen on as well as on the 11 other players.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Burrow is going to be out this league in about 4 years. And that's not because of crap. That's due to injury.
Yeah.
I mean, they struggled last night without Jamar. That was frankly it. On the other side of the ball, can MD trade Myles Garrett? I mean, who would you not love to see Myles Garrett in a Packers uniform?
Yeah. He's just one of those dogs.
I mean, him, Jadeveon Clowney. That's last night was the first time I've seen that guy. Is it Tacky? Number 45?
Taki,
he
taki,
impressed me.
taki, taki, rumba.
Yeah. Jacoby Brissett, that throw to Amari Cooper.
That was a snag.
Oh, I mean, it was actually brilliant to watch. It was actually so good last night that for the first quarter, I watched it on the TV in the lounge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I watched it in the lounge rather than on my tablet.
Were you not at work?
I was, yes.
Oh, I get you.
As long as I don't get caught putting on the TV, you're all right.
I thought you meant you were like watching it at home. I was like, what?
No.
I get you.
I watched it on the in the lounge because yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just think last night Jacoby Brissett did what Jacoby Brissett's meant to do. And I thought Hunt was good. I thought Nick Chubb was good. Everything that was good last night came for the Browns.
I thought they had a very nice defensive performance. Yeah. Joe Woods, the defensive coordinator, is coordinating for his job right now, and he did a very stellar job in this game. Sacked Joe Burrow 5 times. They got a pick on him and a forced fumble as well. Yeah. Overall, they kept the Bengals to fewer than 250 total yards of offense. Jamar Chase not being there is a factor. Let's not take it all away from the Bengals there, but it's a huge improvement for a defense that had been really one of the worst in the league for the past 6 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. This is where I think it's going slightly wrong for Cincinnati now, because I think they could potentially see this division slip.
Yeah, I think that being 0-3 in this division now is a serious problem for their hopes of winning the title. Could be too big of a hole for them to climb out of. The Ravens and the Browns have won 2 games in the division, and they still have the hope. They both still have the hopeless Steelers at least once each.
But the Steelers beat Bengals.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. But the thing is like the Browns beat the Steelers, and the Ravens, I think, have got them twice still. And with the way the Steelers are playing at the minute, it has 2 wins right now. So the Bengals could miss this division title due to these games that they've dropped early in the season.
Yep. And
so
I'm off the train slightly at the moment.
You're thinking about maybe cashing in your ticket and moving out? I don't know.
Not yet. I'm holding on to it. Because when Jamar Chase is back, he'll be elite again.
There you go. I think this is the AFC North going to be the most interesting down-to-the-wire division title race, because this one was a lifeline for the Browns, who needed this one really badly to stay alive in the race for the AFC North. Deshaun Watson's return looms closer. This kind of win reduces the pressure on him to be back at 100% immediately following the return from his suspension and get the Browns to the postseason. Steelers, they're cooked. Let's be honest here, right? So this comes down to Ravens, Browns, and Bengals. And I think that if the Browns can get to, 6-6, right? And maybe the Ravens and the Bengals might be somewhere similar at that point. This is really going to come down to the wire, and it's the most interesting division race, I think.
Well, that's the Browns 3-5. So
they need to be pretty good over the next couple of weeks, but it's not impossible.
So Jacoby comes back week 13. Jacoby. Deshaun.
You did an impression of me there, messing up names and all that.
No, honestly, I've got dementia. What was I saying? Deshaun Watson comes back week 13. So he's got 6 games? No, 5 games. 6, 5, 4. Sounds like a bloody auction there.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 6 games.
6 games. So, say he wins those 6 games currently. I've not looked at the games, but say he wins those 6 games. Well, that's them 9-5. They only technically need to find 3 wins for somewhere else. And I think they'll get them.
That's 3 wins of the next 4.
Yeah, I think they could.
They could do it. I think if they do it, this is definitely still a really interesting race. And even if they don't, do you know what I mean? 10-7 could win this division. They did last year.
I don't think they'll win the division. I think I don't think they'll win the division. But what I do like to do every now and then is I like to quite look at the standings and the who's in, who's not at the moment. If you look at the AFC, the 7th seed is only 4-3. Then you've got the Patriots, the Bengals at 4-4. Then you've got the Colts at 3-4-1. Cleveland, Denver at 3-5, and the rest are done.
Yeah.
I mean, if we switch over to the other side, to the NFC, you've got the Cowboys at 6-2, Giants at 6-2. Then you've got, you'll laugh at this, you've got 49ers Commanders at 4-4, the Rams at 3-4, 3-5 Bucks, Packers, Cardinals, Saints, Bears, and the rest are done. I mean, a lot of these divisions, I think, are going to start being decided within the next 3-4 weeks. And I don't mean one or anything. I mean, who's out.
Yeah, you're going to get a better impression of what the landscape looks like in a lot of these divisions.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right, then. Well, if that's everything.
Yep.
That's us for another episode of the End of the Fourth Football podcast. All the social links and names will be down in the description if you're watching on video. But if you are listening to audio, we are on Facebook at End of the Fourth Podcast, on Instagram at End of the Fourth Pod, on Twitter it's the same thing, but instead of the word fourth, it's 4th, so it's End of the Fourth Pod. Check out the Let's Talk Sports Network. Still workshopping this extra show, so stay tuned to that. Go and subscribe to them on YouTube. It's Let's Talk Sports, got a nice light blue logo, very nice. Dan's always looking for new stuff, so if you want to start your own sports show and join our family of sports fanatics, get on to him. They go live every day talking about the NFL, MLB, NBA. My Spurs are 5-2 right now, so I'm very happy with that. At least I've got that. I've got that at the very least. You know, Cubs are rubbish, and they're in the offseason anyway. Packers, who knows? Manchester United are doing okay, but their Man United will probably fall off. At least I've got the Spurs. But yeah, they're looking for. They're looking for, Dan's always looking for new shows. If you fancy starting something of your own up, if you're thinking about it, give him a shout. He'll let you in on his ways. But yeah, that's it from us. Yes. That's it from the Prez.
Yes, everything. Prez has said everything.
That's it. And from me, B-Hizzy, ciao for now.